It's Voodoo 51292's Top 10 Games of 2011. My personal picks for the best 10 games of the year.
What's up everyone? Welcome back to the countdown. In the last video, I revealed my number 9 pick for 2011, and it went to Deep Silver's inventive open-world RPG zombie co-op adventure, Dead Island. In this video, I will reveal my number 8 pick for 2011, and 2011 was certainly the year for sequels and threequels. We've already seen one in our countdown, and here comes another one. This was a very highly anticipated sequel on the PlayStation 3. It was the first time that I would ever actually jump into the series, and I really liked what I saw. So ladies and gentlemen, the number 8 game of 2011.
The number 8 game of 2011, Infamous 2. When I sat down to play Infamous 2 for the PlayStation 3 earlier in the summer of 2011, it would be the first time that I would be stepping into the shoes of Cole McGrath, as I did not actually play the original Infamous, but when I saw that there was an opportunity to jump into the series here in 2011, I knew I had to jump at the chance. So I jumped in, and I was pleasantly surprised by what I found. Infamous 2 picks up where Infamous 1 left off and continues the story of Cole McGrath, and after the events in Empire City, Cole McGrath is faced with a completely new and daunting challenge, as the creature, the Beast, is becoming massively powerful and begins to wreak havoc all the way from the East Coast, beginning in Empire City and on his way down to the fictional city of New Marais, which, according to the game developers, is supposed to be reminiscent of a modern-day New Orleans, which, of course, for me is interesting because that is my hometown. And basically, for Cole McGrath, he needs to get down to New Marais and get some technology that will basically allow him, give him the powers that he needs in order to actually fight and destroy the Beast. Now, the gameplay of Infamous 2 is very similar to Infamous 1 from all the things that I hear, but for me, this was all brand new and very exciting. Basically, even though Cole's weaponry is simply electricity, the game developer Sucker Punch figured out all sorts of creative ways to use electricity as weapons in this game, whether it's shooting a standard electricity bolt, more like a pistol, or rapid fire shooting it, throwing electricity grenades, or even sniping with electricity. There are a bunch of different ways to use the simple power of electricity to cause massive damage to your enemies, and I found that quite nice and quite refreshing, kind of something a little bit new that we normally don't see in video games, and it's a nice break from your standard slew of weaponry. Also, I found that the plot of Infamous 2, as it developed, was one of the best plots, in my opinion, of 2011, and it really kept me going and wanting to play more and more just to uncover the next plot point and figure out what exactly would happen at the end of this game. Now, one of the most appealing things about Infamous 2 and about the entire Infamous franchise is, of course, the fact that you can decide whether to be a good character or an evil character. And in Infamous 2, this decision is greatly magnified, more so than it was in the original Infamous, because unlike the original Infamous, where basically the consequences of your choosing was the color of electricity, in this game there is a whole slew of consequences that comes with choosing. There are 2 completely unique endings to the game based on which side you pick, which there was in Infamous 1, but in Infamous 2, both of these endings are actually extraordinarily good, and they really wrap up the story very well, but in completely different and unique ways, which is really cool, meaning that the game has a replayability factor, because you can play it multiple times for multiple endings. Also, there are a couple of major side characters in this game that one represents the good and one represents the bad, and depending on which one you are, good or bad, you actually have different side missions and side quests with these characters and actually develop their abilities, which are completely different based on whose side you're on. So Infamous 2 is certainly a great ride, whether you're flying through this open world looking for blast shards to increase your energy capacity, or flying around fighting all sorts of regular thugs or giant ice monsters, Infamous 2 certainly provides a lot of fun for a long time. The game is a pretty long game. I think I put about 15 hours into it, and I enjoyed all of it. So why isn't Infamous 2 higher on our countdown? Well, from everything I am to understand, Infamous 2 is basically Infamous 1 with a few tweaks and a new plot. It's really nothing too innovative in the Infamous series. It's pretty much the gameplay of Infamous 1, like I said, with a couple of upgrades and a new plot. And unfortunately for me, that's not quite enough to move Infamous 2 up higher in the countdown over some of these other games that I have. And even though the gameplay was good and I enjoyed it quite a bit, it did get a little repetitive at times, and it wasn't nearly as impactful and amazing as some of the other games that we have in the countdown. But Infamous 2, if you have a PlayStation 3, is a great play, and I think that everybody should check it out. Infamous 2, our number 8 game of 2011.